These are pretty nice. Yeah. Oh shit, I'm recording. Damn it.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Crashing Out podcast. I am your host, Holguin. This is episode 2, and on this week's episode, we're going to be previewing the NBA playoffs and recapping the Masters. So let's just get into it, my boys. The NBA playoffs are pretty much set. The play-in still has to happen. Play-in games happen Tuesday and I believe Thursday. Honestly, I hate the whole play-in concept now. It made sense during COVID. It made sense during the shortened season. But now, man, what I don't understand is how is it allowed for a 10th seed to have the opportunity to get into the playoffs, but if they lose, they still have the opportunity to win the lottery. In my opinion, you can't have both sides. It's unbelievably disrespectful that a 10th seed is even given an opportunity to make the playoffs when most of those 10th seeds have pretty much punted the season. And then to allow them to maybe still get a top 4 pick, it's why Dallas ended up with Cooper Flag, which is, by the way, that last lottery was one of the most rigged lotteries of all time. Like, I always knew eventually the NBA was going to reward the Dallas Mavericks with something because just as an apology for Nico Harrison's incompetence. Shout out to Nico, though. You're my dude. Thank you so much for Luka Doncic. But it's just insane to me that the Mavericks were a play-in team last year. I believe, maybe memory doesn't serve me well, and you can correct me in the comments, but I believe Dallas won their first playing game, lost the second one, or vice versa. I don't know which situation it was, but I remember them playing 2 playing games, and then they end up still with the number 1 pick of the NBA draft. The tanking situation in the league, by the way, is so horrendously bad. I think that's my one takeaway from this last season. This last season was as hilarious as it was, the Giannis situation, all the things that happened throughout the year. But the one thing I took away from this year specifically is that Adam Silver is such a bald fraud. I know a lot of people think the MLB commissioner is the worst commissioner in sports. I don't. I think it's Adam Silver. This guy cannot solve a single freaking thing without, 1, taking his sweet-ass time, or 2, bringing up a concept of creating another tournament. Because the NBA commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, has a tournament kink. That's who's running the league right now. It's why the play-in is still going around in 2026, 6 years after COVID. It's the reason why this guy built in a in-season tournament that is a gigantic waste of freaking time. It's why when they were going through ideas on how to stop the tanking epidemic in the NBA, he even brought up the idea of another tournament to decide who gets the number 1 pick of the draft, because that makes a whole lot of sense, Adam. I don't understand why this dude thinks that everything could be solved with a tourney, because that's just not what's going to happen. I know he has an obsession with EuroLeague basketball, but this is not EuroLeague, dude. This is the NBA. And the fact that he's always just bringing these tournament ideas up is absolutely awful. And all the other ideas, by the way, that Shams has reported on have all sucked. They're all awful. What drives me nuts is that like no other professional league deals with this. The NFL doesn't deal with this. MLB doesn't deal with this. It's only the NBA that has this problem. And you have a commissioner who just doesn't know what to do or doesn't even want to really do anything. And if as long as nothing changes, you're going to continue to see bad teams tank for a majority of the season. Teams were tanking from the beginning of like January. Honestly, some teams were tanking since like the ending of December. Like so many teams punted their season during the trade deadline. I've never seen this number of teams just say, you know what, F it. We're just going to go and wait and just lose out. Get rid of the lottery system. Just get rid of it. It's a simple solution. It's just something that Adam seems to not be able to figure out because the dude just wants to throw all the teams in the lottery into a gulag and let the last team standing be the team to get the number 1 pick, apparently. I'm pretty sure if that ball fraud had it his way, it would be 100% that. And no, they'll never kick Adam out because, you know, these billionaire owners bully him around like the nerd he is. But I love the NBA so much. I grew up with it. It's my favorite sport. It's my favorite league. It was my favorite league. It's gone worse and worse as the seasons progress. But it's a shame that the NBA is stuck with the commissioner so absolutely awful as Silver is. I really wish, man, there was somebody else waiting in the wings to come up and take his place because lately it's just been garbage. This guy sucks. That's my one takeaway from this regular season. This guy is a bald fraud, and he absolutely stinks, and he is the worst commissioner in all of sports. He just honestly is, in my opinion. But besides the point, I'll probably bitch and complain about that more and later down the road, especially with like the NBA lottery coming soon again, and the NBA playoffs, and the offseason on the way. We're gonna talk a lot about Adam Silver and what the things he needs to do to really improve his job performance, because right now it's abysmal, man. Just a bad commish, simple as that. But let's get into the NBA playoffs. NBA playoffs are set pretty much. Playing games will get done on Tuesday. I don't really have any of these play-in teams making that much noise. Now, I would love to see, out of all the teams, let's start in the East, that are in the play-in, I would love to see the Hornets really be the team to take over one of the Magic or Miami Heat spots. Because that Hornets team, man, defensively, awful. Offensively, they're a juggernaut. That team could score, like, insanely well. They have all the offensive weapons, from LaMelo to Miller to Knipple. They traded for Kobe White at the trade deadline. I love the fact that they just said, screw it. We're not going to be this defensive stopping team. Let's just double down on the offense, go get a Kobe White, put him on our bench, and just absolutely try to outscore everyone. And, like, the Lakers played them earlier in the season, and they just smoked the Lakers out of the court, dude. They're unstoppable when they're hitting their shots. And they're one fun offensive team. So if I look at the other teams in front of them, or not even in front of them, do I really want to see Orlando get one of the 7th or 8th spots? Do I really want the Miami Heat, who seem to be the kings of the play-in, get the 7th or 8th seed spot? Not really, man. I don't think I do. Even with Philly, I'd rather see Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe in the playoffs than see anybody from the Orlando Magic or anybody from the Miami Heat. The Orlando Magic are a dreadful watch. That team is so done with Jamal Mosley. Like, they cannot wait for this season to end for the hopes that this guy is fired. And Mosley, at the same turn, is hoping that the franchise chooses him over Banchero, who he clearly does not have a strong relationship with. As for the Miami Heat, I feel like we do this every single season with Miami, dude. And I feel like they have one of the best coaches in the league. Bam's an all-star. Jaime Jaquez is one of the best 6 men in the league. But they just can't seem to get over that play-in hump. It seems like they're like the same way tournaments are a kink to Adam Silver. Apparently, the play-in is a kink for the Miami Heat. It goes hand in hand at this point. Some teams just belong in the play-in, and it seems to be Miami. But those two teams, like, they're just dreadful. And if you're the Pistons and the Celtics, you're praying that it is the Heat and the Orlando Magic that end up advancing, because those teams will just be immediately swept. I think the Hornets, they get one of those 2 spots, those 2 final spots. They could sneak in there and get a game or 2, because they're that so talented on offense, is so elite when they're on. They have a Rookie of the Year candidate with Knipple. I would probably still give the edge to Cooper Flagg for Rookie of the Year, but Knipple has a strong case. I think you can't go wrong with either or. Hell, I mean, if they want to do something from like the 90s, give it to both of them. Co-Rookie of the Years. It's happened before. Why not now? 2 former Dukies getting Rookie of the Year. I'm cool with that. But yeah, that Hornets team makes the playoffs. They can give you a run for their money, man. Offensively, they're just that good. And I don't think the Celtics would be worried, but I feel like it's a bigger headache to have to deal with that offense than it would be having to play Orlando or Miami. So if I am going for any team in that play-in tournament in the next few days, I'm going with the Hornets. I want them to win. I want to see exciting playoff basketball. The Hornets are the team to cheer for, I feel like, in the play-in. That's just my opinion. I know the Celtic fans don't want to probably play them. I'm sure they don't care. At the end of the day, I don't expect the Hornets to actually beat the Pistons or the Celtics. But if we want to talk about from an entertainment standpoint, it should be the Charlotte Hornets to advance. If it's Miami or Orlando, you're looking at a 4 or 5 game series for both of them. They're going to be very quickly outed, man. Those teams have been trending downward for quite a bit now. So it's kind of riding on the wall. At least Charlotte, they can grow from this and actually get better, maybe even be a better team next year. Like, the Hornets are a rising team where, like, Orlando and Miami are just continuously lowering their expectations. Especially Orlando. Back to the Magic. I know I'm repeating myself from something I said last week. They gave four first-round picks for Desmond Bane. Also, they could just be back in the playing position. You give up 4 first-round picks for a player, man, that better make you a title contender. Not a playoff contender, a title contender. 4 first-round picks for this guy. and no improvement whatsoever. Yesterday, them losing to the Celtics was such a bad loss, and the vibes are so low with that team, man. It's almost hearsay for me to want to see them in the playoffs. That team has completely quit in that coach, and that coach has completely quit on them. Both sides need to move on. Orlando Magic just need to be taken to the back and just getting taken care of. Like, it's been that awful of a season for them. You give up 4 first-round picks, and you can't even like clinch a playoff spot. Awful, awful stuff from the Orlando Magic. I hope the Hornets find a way to make it to the playoffs. I feel like they would be the funnest team to watch from those play-in teams for sure. And then again, if not them, then the Sixers, because the Sixers are to have Maxey and Edge coming. That's just as fun. Neither of those two Florida teams deserve to make it. That's just my opinion. And on the West Coast, you have the Warriors, who seem to be already punting their playing game against the Clippers. I believe they're playing the Clippers. I'm not sure about that. But Steve Kerr has already came out and said that Curry, Porzingis, and Horford will all be on a minutes restriction. Do or die game. Like single elimination, and you have your guys on a minutes restriction. That's rough, man. I don't expect the Warriors to win. I don't expect anyone to really beat the Clippers or the Suns. I think the Clippers and the Suns will be slotted in the 8th and 7th seed. I think Kawhi is just not going to let the Clippers lose that game. Darius Garland has been fantastic since joining the Clippers in that James Harden trade. The Suns have had a fantastic season. They totally beat my expectations. I really thought the Suns were going to be bad this year, but they ended up being a feisty team, man. And I will say this, when they played the Spurs, I could see the Suns winning a game or two. I honestly can. I think they're feisty, man. You know, like they have Gillespie, who's a really good shooter. They have Grayson, Ted Cruz, Zodiac Killer Allen, who can shoot the hell out of the ball. Dylan Brooks, come playoff time, he likes to lock in. I know it never really works out for him. He likes to poke the bear, but he can make it a little bit more difficult for the Spurs than I think people would expect him to. And Devin Booker's Devin Booker. At the end of the day, I don't see the Suns eliminating or giving the Spurs any trouble to eliminate them. I think the Spurs will prevail from that. But I think my biggest question mark with the Spurs is more so, this is their first time in the playoffs. This is the first time Wemby will be there. This is going to be the only second time De'Aaron Fox has been there. First time for Castle, Keldon Johnson, Dylan Harper, etc., etc. They have 2 guys on this team that do have championships, in Harrison Barnes and Luke Cornett. But I feel like they're still a year or two away from me being like, all right, this team could win the championship right here, right now. Now, is Wemby good enough to carry this team to the NBA Finals? Absolutely. The dude's a freak. He's the alien for a reason. The guy could do it all. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He should be unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. He is a monster. But I do think at some point the inexperience, not just from the roster, but from also this coaching staff, who, you know, obviously I know Popovich has been kind of like the shadow coach in the background helping Mitch Johnson and all, but I do think the inexperience will play a part. I do have them going far in the playoffs, and we will get to that, but I do think there will be some games where a lot of people will be shocked that they lost game 3 or game 4, or this goes to 6 or maybe even 7 games. I think sometimes the inexperience will play a part, but I do expect the Spurs to prevail. A matchup with the Suns is going to be interesting because the Suns do have NBA players that could absolutely ball. Devin Booker could go absolutely nuclear in this round, and it could give the Spurs some trouble. But I still think the Spurs against the Suns, I would say Spurs in 5 or 6 games. I could see it going 6. I would not be shocked if the Spurs just go and dominate them and beat them in 5. As for OKC, I expect them to play the Clippers. I don't give the Clippers a chance. Unless Kawhi turns it back to 2019, I really don't see the Clippers giving OKC any trouble. Reason being, I think OKC just owns the Clippers. Ever since the Shea trade, they just own them. Absolutely own them. And I expect Oklahoma City Thunder to just sweep them. I really do. Kawhi could win a game. Again, Darius Garland has been playing really well since joining the Clippers. But I think there's a world where OKC is just so good. They've been just waiting and plotting for the playoffs to start. They're the best team all season. They have the MVP again. They're just a fully loaded Death Star. And I don't see the Clippers giving them any issues. For the Clippers, though, like this was a lost season. And clearly the Clippers are transitioning to a new era, a younger era. You know, they're still going to get punished at some point, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the hell Adam Silver is planning. The fact that it's going to be almost a whole entire year since we've gone to news about Kawhi and aspiration and the money under the table. And there has been no type of clarity about what's going to happen moving forward with that. It's pretty pretty freaking crazy in my opinion. But that's just another thing you could put to the Bozo Adam Silver resume. But yeah, I think the Clippers, look, they made the playoffs. They got rid of Harden. They traded Zubac. And they still made it. They still made it as a postseason team. Obviously, they have to win their play-in game. I expect them to do so. And I expect them to be the 8th seed and then lose to the Thunder in 4 games. I think for them, that just shows you that Ty Lue, as much as I know Clipper fans aren't the biggest fans of Ty Lue, I know they've had their ups and downs with him. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. I feel like Ty Lue is kind of just like in that Eric Spoelstra situation where they're so good, they're not going to be able to tank. And Joe Mazzulla, too, as well. That they're like, the situation looks like, oh, it's going to be a bad year. We're probably going to be in the lottery. Those coaches are just too good to do that. They're too good. They're too prideful. They're able to take those teams and get the most, even though the roster it could be as bad as it is. They get the most out of those teams. And I think Ty Lue has done a fantastic job for with as much roster turnaround and, you know, the aspiration, Kawhi deal lingering as a dark cloud over the Intuit Dome. And like for them to still make it is, or if they do make it, again, there is the chance they do lose the playing game. I don't expect them to, but if they make it, I do think that's something that Ty Lue should be proud about. I think it's something he should pat himself on the back. He's a champion as a player and a coach. But I think very much like Spoelstra, they're just kind of stuck in the situation they're stuck in. They're just not the type of coaches that are going to take you to the tanking situation. They're going to make the playoffs one way or another, and they're going to get the most out of their players. Now let's get into the big one. Or should we start with Denver, Minnesota? Let me think. You know, we'll just go with Denver, Minnesota. I'll save the best for last. Denver, Minnesota. Now, I will say this about the Spurs. I think, in my opinion, the Spurs are going to regret what they did yesterday. What I mean by that is the Spurs should have treated yesterday as a playoff preview and absolutely steamrolled the Denver Nuggets, who were without 90% of their team yesterday. Jokic played, but Jamal didn't. Cam didn't play. Aaron Gordon didn't play. A lot of their major players didn't play except Jokic. And the Spurs bench Wemby. They don't play him either. And they get beat, which puts Denver at 3 and puts the Lakers at 4. Now, because of that situation, you now have to play Denver in the second round if they beat Minnesota. Which if I was San Antonio and you could manipulate the standings, which they had the opportunity to do so yesterday, I would have preferred to play the Lakers or Minnesota over having to play Denver and Jokic. If you could avoid playoff Jokic at all costs, you have to take that opportunity to do so. Now, my favorite team has played Jokic in the playoffs 3 out of the last 6 years. It's hell, my boy. It's absolute hell. He turns into 2011 Dirk Nowitzki and he's unguardable. The shots you think that no regular human can make, he makes. So if you could avoid him, especially with the Spurs being so inexperienced, you should have treated yesterday like your rehearsal game and just blown them out. That way, the Lakers go to 3rd. They have to play Minnesota. Whoever comes out of that series, if it were to happen, would have been injured because Anthony Edwards is dealing with his knee issues. Jaden McDaniels is nursing an injury. The Lakers clearly are hurt as hell. They don't have Luka and Austin Reeves, and there's really no time frame for either of them to come back. We're just hearing rumblings here and there, but there really is no time frame for either Luka and Austin Reeves to come back. You have a chance to play either one of those teams, and instead you say, nah, we're going to punt this game, give the win to Denver, and have to play them in the second round. Now, clearly, if you want to be the champion, you can't avoid anyone. But I'm just saying, if you have the opportunity to make an easier route for yourself and have OKC deal with possibly Denver in the second round, brother, you got to take that opportunity. To just let Denver win that game, I just don't. I would not want to. And don't get me wrong. Again, Wemby is fantastic. Can Wemby lock down Jokic? Maybe. I don't know. Playoff Jokic is one of the most fearful things I've ever seen. I don't think I could even physically or mentally handle another Lakers-Denver 7-game series, or just the series in general, but best of 7, because of just how ridiculous it is to watch this guy play against your team. And what hurts even more, he doesn't even care, bro. He's more worried about his horses, but he's still out there dropping 30-point triple-doubles, hitting in ridiculous shots that you have no idea how he made them. And just, if he's avoidable, avoid him. And again, I feel like that comes with the inexperience of the Spurs. I'm sure Wemby doesn't want to dodge anybody. The one thing I like about Wemby wants all the smoke, and I respect the hell out of this. He's his second year, right? And he wants all of it, bro. He wants all of the smoke. I believe it's his third year, by the way. Third year, not his second. So I get that aspect of Wemby being like, you know what? Nah, man, let's bring it. Bring Denver on the second round. But what I'm saying, if you're the coach, your management, you're the front office, you're looking at those standings, you're saying, man, we could play the Lakers or Minnesota. All we got to do is just beat Denver. That's all we got to do. And then to not do it, now you're kind of stuck in that situation. I fully expect Denver to dismantle the Wolves. I just do. I think the Wolves have had a mediocre season. I think the Wolves, this core that they have built, I think it's starting to have ran its course. There's already whispers, rumblings about Chris Finch. If maybe they go in a different direction for head coach. I think just this core of Gobert, Randall, Edwards, Jaden, I think they just have gone as far as they possibly can go. I think they need to change things up. I don't know if I think Chris Finch is a good coach. I just think they hit a wall. They haven't had a real point guard there in a while. I know they traded for AEO from the Chicago Bulls. They got him. He's been really great for them. He's been really, really good. But I do think they need more of a playmaking point guard. And Mike Conley is like a billion years old. No disrespect to Mike Conley. Hell of a player, hell of a career. But like, there's something missing in Minnesota. And yeah, the injuries have affected them. Jaden McDaniels' injury was serious. Edwards dealing with a knee issue. There's something you have to very much be careful with and tippy-toe around. I think the Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle front court kind of is what it is. And I think teams know if you just hunt Gobert, there lies the problem, you know? Like, you can't honestly just have Jaden guard everyone. And Rudy's a great rim protector. He could do a lot of good stuff defensively, but Randall and him have their limitations. So I expect Denver to just steamroll Minnesota. I think those injuries, they're not bad enough to keep those two, Edwards and McDaniels, out of the game, but they're bad enough to affect that team. And I just don't see Rudy being able to guard Jokic. Jamal Murray's having a fantastic season, his first All-Star season, probably his best season of his career. I expect him to turn up and absolutely just torch Minnesota. I honestly have Minnesota eliminating the Wolves in 5 games. That's how low I am on the Wolves right now. And I would not be shocked if that results in Chris Finch's firing or a massive roster move happening. Where, I mean, I'll just say it right now. If the Timberwolves get embarrassed in the first round, I expect them to suddenly become the most aggressive team in the offseason to land Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think you're going to see Minnesota completely say, look, this core's cooked. We got to move to a different direction. Let's offer Milwaukee everything we have, picks-wise, young player-wise, everybody but Anthony Edwards, and let's go get Giannis. If they get eliminated the way I expect them to in the first round, that's what I see happening. I would not be shocked if you see Giannis Antetokounmpo as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves and as the co-star with Anthony Edwards, which would be absolutely disgusting. It would be. It really would be. I see that in the future for the T-Wolves, though. I really do. I have Denver winning that series in 5 games. I think they're too good. And that leaves us to Lakers-Rockets. Lakers-Rockets. Here's my biased opinion. Do I think the Lakers have a chance? Absolutely. Why? Because I feel like the Houston Rockets are a dysfunctional team. I feel like the Houston Rockets have inner issues with the things that happened with Kevin Durant and the All-Star break, and I think they have issues with the coach. I think Udoka rubbed some of the players the wrong way. I think a lot of the young guys don't really mess with either him or KD. I think if you frustrate them enough, they could unravel. I feel like the Lakers kind of exposed. If you double team KD and you try to turn him into a playmaker, it makes that team significantly worse. Now, the unbiased opinion is Houston's fully loaded. They're healthy right now, with obviously without Steven Adams and Fred VanVleet. But what they have is healthy enough. They're clearly the better team right now. The Lakers are missing a total of 56 points per game from their starting lineup without Luka and Austin Reeves. I don't expect LeBron to just turn into 28 LeBron. Now, he's played fantastic the last few games. But they're going to throw everything at him. Thompson is a beast of a defender. And they're going to throw Thompson, Eason, all of them at LeBron. And the Laker role players need to step up. Now, I look at the rosters, and I feel like Houston has the edge role player-wise, even though Luke Kennard's been fantastic, but the bench has taken a major hit. Without, Luka and Austin, you can't put Luke Kennard back in the bench. You need him to kind of start to get offense. I just going to come down to, can the Lakers hit their open shots? Can Rui be a significant contributor? Can he nail his shots? Can Marcus Smart stay healthy? Can Jackson Hayes stay healthy? Can DeAndre Ayton not be completely useless and catch the ball and play a significant role in this series? Because they're going to need him. They're going to absolutely need Ayton. It's going to come down to who has the better role players and who has the better execution. Houston right now, to me, they were hot to end the season. I believe they won 8 of their last 9 games they won. I'm going to say this. I think the Lakers, if the Lakers can frustrate that team, they have a chance. I don't know when Luka's coming back. I don't even want to rush Luka back. If it's a 3-1 series, there is no reason for Luka Doncic to come back. If it's a 3-3 series, Game 7, and Luka wants to come back, even then, man, I'm kind of like, maybe you just kind of roll with it. See if these boys can do it without him. Because bringing back a Luka with the injured hammy could just, for nothing, could actually make the team worse, in all honesty, because they're just going to hunt Luka on the pick and roll. So part of me is like, I wish they were healthy. And it's kind of like my feelings with this Laker team is if you win, you win. If you lose, we live to fight another day, and we go into the offseason knowing that we just weren't healthy enough to compete. I have the Rockets potentially winning this series by 5 or 6 games, but I think the Lakers, if they could steal one, if they could start this series with a W, massive. If they could steal one in Houston, things become interesting. To me, all the pressure, though, is on Kevin Durant. It's all on KD. You've been jumping to team to team to team to team the last few years. It hasn't worked out since you left the Warriors. This is on you. You have Sengun, you have the younger, better players against LeBron and friends and Bronny. You should be able to completely dismantle this Lakers team. And if you can't, and you fail, the takes that will come out, if the Houston Rockets lose to this Lakers team without Luka and Austin Reeves, whew, my boys, there's going to have to be a long, long discussion about Kevin Durant and his legacy. I know he doesn't care and he'll swear in social media. I mean, he hasn't been on social media since they found the burner accounts. But I'm sure he'll be back on whenever their playoff run ends. Because that's the thing, man. No matter who wins in this Laker-Rockets matchup has to play OKC in the next round. And I fully expect OKC to just completely dominate. Because to me, this is probably an easier route to the finals for the Thunder than it was last year. I really do think it's easier. They get to play most likely a Clipper team that's, not really in their league or doesn't even come close to having the same roster talent-wise. Then they get an either injured Lakers team or a dysfunctional Rockets team. And then they get to play either an unexperienced Spurs team or a Denver team that has not been as good as years previous. I would not be shocked that the Oklahoma City Thunder have like a 2001 Lakers run when they go like 16-1. It would not surprise me. That's how good this team is. They're the best team in the league. They're fully loaded. I feel like the Thunder are just going to skip through the playoffs and just dismantle every single team in front of them. I fully expect, putting money on the table, Oklahoma City Thunder will be representing the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. Now to the Eastern Conference. I think there's only really 4 title contenders in the East. The Pistons, who I feel like have not gotten their flowers. I think the Pistons haven't gotten the respect that they deserve. They won 60 games this year. They were first place for a majority, if not all, of the NBA season. And, they're building something there, man. J.B. Bickerstaff deserves a lot of credit. I'm so glad I'm a Cade Cunningham fan. I never gave up on that kid. He's now become and blossomed into an NBA All-Star. I'm a big Jalen Duren fan. My thing with the Pistons, though, and my thing with also Cleveland and New York and Boston, which, by the way, are my 4 true title contenders in the East, is the one thing that distinguishes all those 4 teams is coaching. Joe Mazzulla is better than Mike Brown, he's better than Kenny Atkinson, and he's better than J.B. Bickerstaff. Now, not saying that the Celtics are just going to walk to the finals. But with Tatum healthy and with the season that Jaylen Brown had, as much as it pains me to say this, and I might throw up a little bit by saying this, I think the NBA Finals is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Boston Celtics. I think the Celtics are younger than they were years previous. They don't have the corpses of Porzingis and Horford out there. They bring back Tatum. They still have White. They still have Pritchard. They get Vucevic from the Bulls. Jaylen Brown has played at an all-NBA level. And Joe Mazzulla, to me, is going to be the reason why they advance all the way to the finals again, which pisses me off, but besides the point. Because I don't believe the Pistons are ready. I think the Pistons need, like, their Rasheed Wallace. Like, when Rasheed Wallace went to the Pistons in 2004, that's what took the Pistons over the hump. I feel like that's what that Pistons team needs. They still need one more guy. But I think for them, this has already been a massively successful season. 60 wins is insane. I think if they make the second round, it's a W for them. I think if they make it to the Eastern Conference title, now it's a massive overachievement. And I think they could take away from that being like, all right, we're building something here. Because to me, the Pistons aren't in the same bracket as like the Cavs and the Knicks when it comes to championship or bust. Clearly, they're trying to build the bad boy culture again in Detroit, where it's with Cleveland and New York, that's full championship or bust mentality. My problem with Cleveland and why I don't believe in the Cavaliers is because I can't bring myself to buy in the James Harden team in the playoffs. The writing's on the wall, the history is there. I just don't see a world where that team with James Harden, he'll give you a game or two of pure excellence, and then he'll vanish. And I'm hoping now with Donovan Mitchell, he has less pressure on himself and he can maybe play a little bit better than he has in years past. But that's what we said when he was with Kawhi. That's what we said when he was with Joel Embiid. That's what we said when he was in Houston with Chris Paul and Westbrook. That's what we said when he was in Oklahoma City. Like, it's been a continuous. We said that when he was in Brooklyn with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. We have said this so many times with James Harden. It's just he seems to have either the worst luck in playoff history or he just succumbs to the bright lights of the NBA playoffs. I don't know which one it is, but it's hard for me to pick this team because I feel like this Cleveland team's a little soft, a little bit soft. So it's hard for me to say, yeah, Cleveland's going to be able to make some noise. I think Harden in the East is I think it was the move to make. I just don't believe Cleveland will be able to get it done. As for the Knicks, my problem with the Knicks, more so than the situation, my problem with the Knicks, I can't believe in Mike Brown. I don't buy Mike Brown as a coach. I don't think, and I didn't think when they hired him, that he was that much of an improvement over Tom Thibodeau. I feel like him and Thibs are kind of in the same tier when it comes to coaching. So I don't think the Knicks did themselves any favors in their coaching search. I feel like they got kind of what they had already, except Mike Brown probably doesn't coach as well defense as Tom did. So with all that being said, I just don't see a world where any of those four teams or three teams I mentioned can realistically beat the Celtics right now. I think Joe Mazzulla is going to coach circles around all of them. I feel like with Jaylen and Tatum back and with them not just having Horford and Porzingis taking up minutes and they're younger and they're faster and they're more athletic, I think that's going to play dividends, and I think you're going to see the Celtics steamroll through the East. I don't think the Hawks can make noise, but I do think the Hawks could win a couple of games in the playoffs. By the way, shocking that the Hawks was Nickeil Alexander has the most three-pointers made in the regular season in Hawks history. This is a team that used to have Kyle Korver. This is a team that used to have Trae Young. Nickeil Alexander ends up with the most three-pointers in the season for the Atlanta Hawks. Wow. Hell of a signing, by the way. I love what Atlanta has done post like Trae Young. Even when I know like they had Trae when they landed Nickeil Alexander, but like everything they're doing there just makes sense. Like they're building something in Atlanta. Jalen Johnson looks like a superstar. The dude could do it all. I would hate to play them in the first round. That Knicks-Hawks series is going to be absolutely intense. I feel like it's going to be better than what we expect. And I think we're going to start seeing in that series some of the reasons why that I'm not high on the Knicks right now because of Mike Brown. I think Mike Brown is going to make this harder than it needs to be. I can see Knicks-Hawks going 6-7 games. I really can. I think the Cavs dismantle the Raptors. I think the Cavs are good enough to beat at least Toronto. Even though Toronto, Scotty Barnes, his defense has become elite, but I think the Cavs dismantle the Raptors in 5, maybe 6 if I'm being generous. But I think 5 games for the Cavs and the Raptors. I don't think that matters who the Pistons and Celtics play. Unless it's the Hornets. I think the Hornets can maybe sneak a game or two against the Pistons. And then you have whoever comes. And if you're the Boston Celtics, you get Orlando Magic, you're sweeping the Magic. They're sweeping the Orlando Magic. But I could put money on that right now that the Celtics will sweep the Orlando Magic, the Orlando Magic clinch that 7th seed. Just going to say that right now. I really do think the Celtics are just that much better than everybody else. This all came together so perfectly for Boston. It sickens me. It really does. It absolutely disgusts me that everything worked out so well for them. They went from a team that, hey, we're going to punt the season and just maybe get a high lottery pick too. Holy shit, they're the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference, and now Jason Tatum's back, and he doesn't look like he's missed really a step. And oh, by the way, they traded for Vucevic, so now that's their backup center. And oh, by the way, Jaylen Brown's having an all-NBA season, and Derek White's still there, and Payton Pritchard can still shoot the hell out of the ball, and Sam Hauser is still a sniper from 3. They're fully loaded. And by the way, Thunder Celtics in the finals, great basketball. Great basketball. That's a series right there, my boys. That's an absolute baller of a series. I could see that. I think I'm picking Thunder in 6 games in the finals against the Celtics, but I could see that potentially go in 7 games. I feel like it could be as entertaining as Thunder Pacers were. It might not be the teams we want to see, but from a basketball standpoint, if you just take away the Shea free throws, it's going to be a really good NBA Finals. I really do think this playoffs, though, are going to be pretty chalked. I do think the best teams are going to advance, and I guess rightfully so. I don't see that many upsets happening. I really don't. I would love to see some upsets, but I just don't see any of these lower-seeded teams pulling off the heist. I don't think we're going to get what we got a few years ago when like the Lakers as a 7th seed made it all the way to the conference final, or the Miami Heat as an 8th seed made it all the way to the NBA finals. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I really don't. It'd be cool. Can you imagine the Hornets somehow made it all the way to the NBA finals and play Oklahoma City Thunder? That would be crazy. I just don't see it happening, man. I think the best teams are going to prevail. When it comes to the Eastern Conference, I just think Joe Mazzulla is what makes the difference between them and the Pistons and the Cavs and the Knicks. And in the Western Conference, it's been the Thunder all year. It's been the Thunder all the last 2 years, actually, if you want to be technical. It's been the Thunder for 2 years, man. And they're going to win back-to-back championships. And the dynasty will have really begun. It will really be an Oklahoma City Thunder dynasty. And they're going to have to make some decisions in the offseason. I don't think Lou Dort's going to stay there. I don't think Hardenstein's going to be there. But they're going to have back-to-back championships, and maybe those guys take discounts. That's going to be interesting about this playoffs, man. It's going to be how things pan out. I think if Minnesota gets eliminated quickly, they go all in on Giannis. If the Knicks fail again, I think they go all in on Giannis. I wouldn't be shocked if they fire Mike Brown if they were to get eliminated in the first or second round. I really do think Mike Brown could be another one and done coach for the Knicks if things go really wrong come playoff time. I just do. I think these playoffs are really going to show where Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to end up at. I think we're going to see a lot of teams might move on from their head coaches if they end up having early exits. I would put Minnesota and Chris Finch in that table. I would put, obviously, Orlando Magic. Can't wait to fire Mosley if things go bad. Like, his seat's been on fire since the tip-off of the season. We're all the way to the playoffs now, and that seat is un fuego, my boys. I think you're going to see a lot of coaching changes happening, and it depends how some of these playoff series go. But yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm hyped. Look, I'm a Laker fan through and through. I have faith in my boys, but I hope they go into this playoffs knowing that they're not the ones with all the pressure. It's the Rockets. You guys right now are just playing to survive in hopes that Luka and Austin can come back. All the pressure is on Kevin Durant and the Houston Rockets. You wanted to go there. You have your team. Good luck. I still hope Lakers in 6. That's what I'm going to roll with. I think Lakers in 7, hopefully. It would be awesome if the Lakers win this series, but if they don't, we were injured. The injuries caught up to us. It's not fair, but it is what it is. That's just the way the game is played. But yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for playoff basketball. I'm excited for my team to not be in the play-in game because, God forbid, I hate the play-in. The unnecessary stress that I get from the play-in games is just unreal. I never want to see my team in the play-in ever again. But yeah, that was my playoff preview, My boys, let me know what you guys think. Give me your NBA Finals picks in the comments. I would love to know who you think is going to represent the West and East in the NBA Finals. If you think it's the Thunder, let me know. If you think it's the Celtics, if you think I'm wrong, let me know. I'm all cool with that. I'm all fine to debate and discuss all things sports. Let me know down in the comments. With that being said, before we get into the Masters, Doc Rivers quitting the Celtics job, or I'm not the Celtics job, my bad. I'm still stuck in 2008. Doc Rivers quitting the Bucks job or stepping down from the Bucks job. Good riddance, dude. This guy is one of the most overrated coaches in NBA history. He has fallen ass backwards to every opportunity he has ever had. And every time he fails, it's this excuse, it's that excuse, it's everybody's fault, not his fault. One of the most overrated coaches in sports. You won one championship with an absolutely loaded Celtics team. And then you could never do it again. You had amazing Celtics teams, and you couldn't do it. Then you got yourself to the Clippers, and you couldn't do it. Then you got yourself to the Sixers, and you couldn't do it. Then you got yourself to the Bucks, and you still couldn't do it. You've been one of the most overrated coaches of all time. Good riddance, Doc. Won't miss you. Won't miss you at all. Not even a bit. Just goodbye, Doc Rivers. It's been nice knowing you. I don't know why the Bucks are going to put him in the front office, which is stupid. I don't understand why they would do that to themselves. But yeah, one of the most overrated coaches of all time. The guy stinks. I've never liked him. I can't believe he was even an option for the Lakers at one point. One of the best things that ever happened to the Lakers was never hiring Doc Rivers, because that was a real serious scenario at one point, and dodged that bullet. A lot of other teams didn't. And they had to witness their teams, coached by Doc Rivers, choke 3-1 leads constantly. Constantly. I'm just saying, man, not a big fan of him. Peace out, Doc. Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame. Deserve it, I guess. You won a championship. It's been a few years. You guys love bringing that 2008 championship all the time. But whatever. But yeah, good riddance to Doc Rivers. Anyways, let's talk about the Masters. The Masters was this weekend. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy. This guy, man, is, I feel like he's even better after winning last year. And I was saying it all weekend. Like, this course is built for him now. Like, he knows the ins and outs of every situation. Now, he absolutely dominated. And I know Saturday he started to falter a bit. He had like a 6-shot lead, absolutely choked it away, but never freaked out, never lost his composure, never, like Justin Rose yesterday, man. When Justin Rose was like leading, he completely unraveled. Completely unraveled. He had the lead, and just the next 4 holes, he just completely botched. It was unreal how bad Justin Rose choked that. But like, that's the thing I'll give McIlroy, that he's now reached this picture-perfect mastery of golf where, yeah, he'll choke a lead like he used to, but completely lock in and just patiently crawl his way back to the top. And that's what kept happening. He would go down to 9, get back to 11, then get to 12, then get to 13, and he would just run away with it. And I know even during the 18th hole yesterday, for a second there, when he just completely launched the golf ball into the trees. By the way, the camera work by CBS during that whole last 18th hole was dog shit. Absolute dog shit. Do better, CBS, because like, from them not knowing where the ball was, but then also cutting to those people in at that bar, those kids at the bar drinking, like watching Rory play, I was getting real annoyed by that. I'm like, I want to see Rory. I don't want to see other people's reaction to Rory. It's cool and all. I understand the significance of it, but doesn't mean I want to see it. Like, let's focus on the last hole of the Masters. Like, what are we doing? Like, just stick to that. That's fine. It was very annoying. But the fact that, like, even part of me was kind of like, oh my God, if he chokes this, if he gets a double bogey right now, it would have been absolutely insane. But again, I think it shows the maturity and the veteran experience that Rory is now, that doesn't happen anymore. He's so locked in. He looked like the best golfer in the world. I know it's Scottie Scheffler, and Scottie, he looked like he was going to go down the drain, and that he made a run for it, man. Like, he really made a serious run to get first place. And, you know, if he would have hit that birdie on the 18th hole, it would have been a lot different. The pressure would have been definitely doubled. But Rory, man, he is just the master of the masters. back-to-back, the fourth golfer ever to go back-to-back. The last one to do it was Tiger Woods in 2001, 2002. And now you could put Rory McIlroy as one of the greatest of all time. I always considered him one anyways. But it was just a masterful performance by Rory McIlroy. I was very impressed with his composure. I was very impressed that he didn't let himself slipping to all the way to like third at one point get to him. He played his game. He played calm and relaxed. And I was a back-to-back Masters champion. It was a great Masters, man. That Sunday, yesterday's events were just, it was tight, man. You had like four guys tied for second place. Once Rory went ahead when he was up 13, and everybody was kind of just stuck at 11. It was entertaining, dude. It was very entertaining. Very, very good Masters. Really well done. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Congratulations to Rory McIlroy. Hell of a job. My boys, this is going to be the finale of episode 2 of the podcast. We'll be back next week, most likely talking about some of the things that happened during the NBA playoffs, especially this upcoming weekend. We're going to be talking about all of that. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment down below. Hit the notification button. You could probably listen to this on all podcast platforms. I will always leave a link in the description, so go make sure to go check that out. Comment down below. What did you think of the Masters? Give me your NBA playoff predictions. Let me know who you think is going to make the NBA Finals. Next week's a stacked week. Next week's a very stacked week because it is NFL Draft Week. And with also the NBA playoffs going on, we're going to have a lot to talk about, my boys. I will see you guys then. You guys enjoy yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for watching, as always. It is also going to be a busy week for me. I am uploading a lot of videos this week. It is CinemaCon in Las Vegas right now, and I will be doing a lot of reactions, so make sure you check all those videos out as well. Also, we will be debuting our wrestling podcast, Light Treat and Pod, this upcoming Thursday, April 16th. Make sure you check that out as well. My boys, it has been a pleasure talking to all of you. I will see you guys later on. You guys enjoy the rest of your day and night. Too so.